I'm Danae Bubeng, and welcome to another episode of Life Lived in Purpose. So, today I will be talking about how you can find God's purpose for your life. I have been asked this question several times actually, and I will give you feedback based on my life and how you too can also navigate this in your own lives as well. So, first things first. God is not in any way hiding his purpose over your life. He is not in any way trying to hide it from you, like many of us might believe. He's also not making it difficult at all for you to know what it is. In fact, God is actually open and willing to do everything in his power to get you to walk in your purpose and to also fulfill your purpose in time with the time that you have here on this earth. So God's biggest problem with so many of us is just our human will. Our willpower is strong. God made us that way. So he also gives us the power to choose what we want to do as well. So we don't, in other words, we get to choose. So we get to make decisions that we may feel like is best for us, even though he sometimes has something better for us or something planned that is different from what we ourselves may have perceived. So it's always our decision to choose to do his will or our own. He is a patient and kind God, and he's not going to force anything on us at all. Actually, he wants us to be open to wanting to do his will rather, and not our own. So therefore, purpose and getting to your purpose and finding your purpose, it's completely up to you. It's completely up to you to want to do it and to want to work with God to actually get it accomplished. So for me, I didn't do that at first. Rather, I went to the direction I felt would be more beneficial for me in my life. I wanted the degrees and the success that comes with that. But it was only because I was struggling with my own self-esteem. I wasn't confident in who I was, and so I thought that, education would help me to be more invincible in the eyes of others. So I picked for me my own career without even ever consulting God as to maybe he had something better. So the one who knows everything, I failed to consult him. Yes, I wanted to do my own thing, and so I chose that route instead. So years later, after all the misery that came with choosing my own path, because of my lack of confidence in myself, and that led me to choose the wrong path. So after going on that path, it was then that I realized that I wasn't living my best life. In fact, I was rather miserable with the self-pick life that I chose. So I will be honest with you, I hated everything. I'll be honest. I hated the job I chose as a pharmacist, because it left me tired, it left me drained and exhausted at the end of the day. I tried my best to do every aspect of pharmacy. I went into mail order, retail. I did everything that I thought, could make it better or make me even more, feeling more accomplished in whatever I had to do. But somehow it didn't help me to feel like I was helping others, which was initially also a goal for myself. Like I really wanted to help others in my career, but it didn't quite work that way because I ended up being even more harmful to my patients than somehow being helpful to them. So I knew right then and there that the career I selectively picked was not for me anymore. And so, like many of us, me in particular, we knocked down God's door asking for help, or asking for a redo or something, like the what's next scenario. God, I picked this career, I don't like it one bit, I'm exhausted with it, and now what can I do next? How can I get out of this? Help me, please. So here I was, desperate for a change, of life, and asking God for something better for me. Because I was so miserable trying to go each day making this career work. But it didn't work anymore, and I wanted to be gone. I wanted it to just go away. So in my desperation, I asked the Lord for help, and I also asked Him for redirection. So I didn't really think about it for some time and continue with life until I was actually fired from my job. I was fired for the very same thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to help people with their medication, but I got so caught up in corporate greed surrounding this whole metrics where you have to do a certain amount of scripts per day and not really thinking about the quality of the patient or how you can really help them. And the requirement for me was that I had to meet this quota of how many scripts I had to verify in an hour versus actually just helping patients and just helping them to get the best care possible. So in trying to do that, in trying to keep up, I went corporate way. I just went their way of just getting as much scripts out as a result. And I almost sent the wrong script to a patient. So that was another confirmation for me on my journey that I was not only risking patients' life, but I was also not doing my best. Not as a child of God. I felt like it wasn't me because I wasn't really helping them, and I really truly wanted to help people. So that didn't work out for me, and I couldn't fight against what corporate wanted just so I could keep a job. I didn't feel safe doing that, and I didn't feel it was right either. So my work ended up not having any more meaning for me, and it ended up not having any purpose as well. So that is the first struggle that you may have with yourself and your purpose. Like, are you really feeling fulfilled and satisfied with the job that you're currently having? The job that you currently have, are you feeling satisfied and fulfilled? Do you feel accomplished at the end of the day with what you're doing? Do you feel like you are where you belong and that this job is your best for you? So these are some questions that you should ask yourself if there's any conflict whatsoever with the answers. And then that's where I would say you definitely need to inquire more about God and to find out more about what His plan was actually for you. So many of us, feel like God is distant and somehow He's not present in our life. Like he's there in heaven and we're just here trying to figure things out. But He's not like that, because we may feel like life is just ours to live in whatever way we want to and not really ask God, who is the all-knowing, what He thinks about even our careers. Like, do we really ask Him, or do we want to figure it out on our own just because? So we don't ask Him. We decide our path for ourselves without even asking Him what it is. So listen, who would know us more? Who do you think would know who we are, our desires, and everything better than God? God knows us more. And God gave us those same desires that we have on the inside. So remember the Bible verse that says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and to not harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." So He knows the plans for us. In fact, He created our best lived lives. And He wants us more than we even ourselves wants us to be living our best life. Because the Bible promises it. The Bible talks about having an abundant life, but we're not where we need to be in this life if we're doing our own thing. So he also promises us burden-free, more fulfilled lives. Lives of peace, hope, and love. A life of feeling full and satisfied with our journey. So if you feel stuck and like you're just living day in, day out in misery, then I would definitely ask the Lord for more details about your own specific journey. Because for me, when I did that, I didn't months later see, the job loss as a blessing. I didn't months later see the job loss as a blessing in disguise. In fact, even though secretly I was happy I had left that toxic lifestyle, I still forgot really what I just told God. And I continued. I went back and kept applying again for another position as a pharmacist. And I applied for a really long time and nothing ever opened up. Then it occurred to me in that dry season I call the wilderness period, that I didn't ask the Lord for direction. I just left that career and then was on to do the next best thing. And instead of asking him, what is it that I needed to do? What was my purpose? Why did you put me here on this earth? So why am I going back in the same direction, you may ask? And it was then for me that I knew I had to surrender to God and his plans for my life and not mine anymore. So if you're new to my channel, please check out my video on surrendering to God's purpose over your life. That will also help you to kind of navigate and understand more of what it means to surrender to God. So after you've decided to surrender your life to God, please take a brief pause for a moment in your own life. Because remember, you're taking a major transformation and shift into a totally different direction. That shift will also need some major time to learn more about who you are, the desires you have, and also to get clarity from God on how you can achieve it. How do you get there to that goal? So before you run off and make other decisions, such as maybe going back to school or jumping into ministries or even serving at church, I've been there, done that. Be sure that it's where God is leading you. Be 100% sure. The reason why I said this was because after I left my career as a pharmacist, I thought that I should just, conform to what the church was doing and throw myself into service. So I did. I thought that's what was it required of me. I'm now committed to doing God's will, so I'm committed to even pushing myself and serving the church. So I did. I became a Sunday school teacher, Bible school coordinator, and so many different things all at once. But strange enough, God told me to shut everything down. How weird was that? I thought I'm where I'm supposed to be, right? But he told me, stop everything. And I was completely baffled, shocked, and totally distraught. I didn't know. At first, I couldn't blame the devil for it, but deep down, I knew he was calling me to stop everything. And I had peace after that. So, what do you mean by stop everything, right? You might be asking. So I thought I was supposed to devote myself entirely to the church and service as a means of, surrendering. Rather, I still again forgot to ask him where he wanted me to be at first. That's the part. You forget to ask him, what is it you want me to do? Because it might be different. It might not be he's calling you to be a Sunday school teacher or a Bible school coordinator. It could be something different. So I didn't ask him where he wanted me to be. So before you take on anything else, please ask the Lord for your blueprint, the roadmap. Ask him the already planned direction for you. That's what you need to take. So he has it, and it may not ever look like serving in the church. You can be called to anything. That's the thing where a lot of us get confused with the church work and ministry in general. Ministry can be anything. Your purpose is not only linked to the church and what you can do in the church, because God is not only seen in one way. Remember, he's multidimensional and multifaceted. He can call you to ministry as an entrepreneur in the marketplace. That's totally different from service in the church. A whole new ball game, a whole new direction. So that was my direction, actually. A non-related marketplace ministry. Therefore, it is key to ask God for the blueprint. Ask him. Ask the one who created you. Now, I know many of you will ask the next question. Well, how do you hear from God? I don't think I hear him as much as you do. So I'm here to tell you that I am no different from you when it comes to hearing from God. I'm not anything, prophetic or anything like that. He just speaks to all of us differently based on how we choose to interact with him. For instance, I hear from God in so many different ways. Like, I can hear from him through others, just others speaking to me. It's like God is speaking to me. I can hear from him in my dreams. I can hear from him through even writing and just things that pop up or, come to mind spontaneously for me to do. So we also hear from him one way or the other, and he will let himself be fully known. He is not hiding from us. Just trust him to lead you on the right path. He did it for me, and he can surely do the same for you. I'm not any different. I'm not any special person. I just decided to surrender to God and give him my life and allow him to teach me and to show me where he wants me to be. Another thing to consider when, trying to find purpose is to spend some time writing down some goals. The goals that you have for yourself, your goals and your dreams, those of yours, a lot of us kind of push it to the side and we don't really think about it, but those are little clues that can help you to kind of understand yourself better and who you are and maybe where God is, calling you into. Write down what you're seeing and thinking about yourself and your life also. Like, what is it you would love for your life to look like? And also, I like to say to others when I'm kind of helping them to understand themselves better is to just think outside the box. Think outside of finances for a moment, because most of the time we do make decisions based on finances. Like I have to have security, I have to have all this thing. But put yourself in a position where you're not thinking about finances. And if money was never an issue, if security was never an issue, what would you yourself have wanted to do with your own life? That will definitely give you some inside knowledge or clue as to what it is God might be pulling you and calling you to do. Because remember, his desires for you is also your desires for yourself. So many times I hear answers that some of them I'm actually shocked about, because you would never think of that for that particular person. But I hear answers that shows me that the dreams and desires of persons are actually there. They're like tucked away, hidden, inside, and they're all of a sudden they're like coming forth. Like, you're hearing, people's visions and dreams and their desires, and you're amazed at some of them. So that's some clues, and that's some tools that you too can also use to kind of understand yourself a bit better, and to also understand those desires that God may have, already placed on the inside of you. So here's an example for me. I'm called to be an entrepreneur. Before I even thought about pharmacy, I've always had a desire that I wanted to be my own boss and work for myself. And during my time as a pharmacist and actually struggling with that career, I was still trying to understand, why I had this desire for entrepreneurship. And I literally, before all of this happened, I would be doing courses based on opening up smoothie shops or home health care companies and so forth. I was just out there just trying to figure this thing out. So I did have this deep rooted desire that I was an entrepreneur, but I didn't know exactly where God was going to place me at all. So that's the thing too. Some of us do have this desire that there's something that's there that they're pulled to, or they're drawn to, or they just feel like they're committed to. So that's some of the clues that you can look at even in your own life. Now, I received clarity that I was called to be an entrepreneur as an author, speaker, and a blogger. So it's not in service to the church at all, but it's in the marketplace. I'm called to be in the marketplace because He wants me to be of influence to others in the world. So sometimes the desires we have can also pinpoint us to where, you feel God may be calling you to. And that's how He works. So I always say to others, I say, write the vision down. Make it known like Habakkuk in the Bible. Write it down. And then when you write your vision down, ask God to show you what that life will look like and what path you need to get to it. So when you get some visions and clarity on your own life, the next thing to do is just be brave and step forward, knowing that no matter what, if you took even the wrong step initially, that He will always redirect your path. He will always put you back on the right path. He never just leaves us. Like if we fall or if we picked up the wrong thing, especially in my own life, if I even do another venture that maybe He's not calling me to. I've tried other things, ventures or whatever, but then I know in my heart when He said, nope, that's not the one. And then He just redirects me back to stay and focus on what I'm doing currently. So also, don't ever feel the need to rush your purpose. Your purpose is longevity, requires longevity, and it is a lifetime. Like, you're doing this for a lifetime. So guess what? There is no rushing. There is no, I need to catch up, God. My time is going. I only have this amount of time left on the earth. No. Your purpose is for a lifetime. You don't need to rush it. You don't even need to rush God. It takes a lot of time, for God to even process us and lead us on the right path. We have so many things. We have issues, baggages, anything that we're dealing with, stress, whatever. He needs some time to really get us to kind of focus and to take more proactive steps, for our own life and our own path. So don't ever rush the process. Rather, just step back and allow God to lead you on the right path. I promise you that when you do, you're going to be so much more happier, so much more fulfilled, and it's just the happiness and the joy that you feel, being in a purpose-driven life. So if you haven't ever gotten or seen a copy of my book, I Am Who God Says I Am, always be inspired to live the life God has planned for you. It kind of takes a little bit of journey about my own life, of finding my purpose, after myself struggling with my identity for years. So I pray that it will also help you to also see how my life evolved and to navigate your own journey as well. So the link is in the description box below. So until next time, I do thank you for watching.